on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, it's actually a very exciting day. I have a lot of things I want to go over. Number one, we are still grinding upwards. Bitcoin is attempting to still break out of this pattern. Now, technically, you could say that we did have the breakout. And actually, as I'm making this video right now, you could see if I just draw this line, we're kind of having that retest of the previous resistance, right? But the other thing to talk about is that if we actually just connect this line up here, even if we just consider that to be a fake out, these are just sort of arbitrary, but you can kind of see that it is starting to also look like a bit of an ascending wedge, right? Which is technically a bearish pattern. But that's not just what I want to talk about today. What I want to discuss specifically is the fact that we are still holding above the 200 weekly moving average again. So that was 3 straight weeks, but we are being rejected by the EMA ribbon. Now, in today's video, yes, my friends, I have yet another bottom indicator that we haven't talked about on the channel yet. And the last 3 times that this happened in Bitcoin's history, the bottom was already in, and we just got that signal flashing again. So I want to talk about that. And believe it or not, now that we have it, we can actually kind of estimate when we should start to see Bitcoin get back into that big rally again, right? And I also want to talk about 3 charts that I'm watching specifically. But before we get into the TA and all that other stuff, I just wanted to bring this massive, massive news right here. So this is from Revolut, okay? So check this out. After announcing plans to grow its cryptocurrency workforce, challenger bank Revolut has received regulatory approval to offer crypto services to millions of its users in Europe. The bank can now set up its European hub in Cyprus and offer additional crypto services and exposure to crypto assets like Bitcoin to, and are you ready for this? It's 17 million customers in the European Economic Area after the markets in crypto assets bill is enforced. So that's a little bit of a catch right there. It's not something that's going to happen immediately, right? They have this markets in crypto assets bill, and if you come down here, the bill is slated to become law in 2023, and it's going to come into full effect by 2024 in the EU. So this is something that's going to be rolling out over the next 2 years, but this could really start to set that precedent for other banks, other institutions, right? We saw what was happening with BlackRock. It really is an avalanche. It's a snowball effect, right? And it's just growing and growing and growing. And this is what they said. A spokesperson said, "We welcome the EU-wide regulation and wholeheartedly embrace the European Parliament's clear intention to support innovation while requiring strong customer protection measures to prevent any type of market abuse." So this is just another win for Bitcoin. 17 million users over there using Revolut. So absolutely big. I wanted to put this in the beginning of the video because I just wanted to share some positive news. Now, if you are not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, we usually don't start with the news, but I thought that was a big story. Let's hop in and let's check out the charts. So we were expecting there to be a little bit of resistance here, right? Every single chart at this point, we had a beautiful rally down here from around 17,500. If we just go from the bottom of this wick to where we pumped 42.5%. That was a very, very nice move. Now, is the move over? I don't believe that the uptrend is done yet. I still think Bitcoin is going to continue higher, and we're going to attempt to get up to some of these levels around 28,000 to maybe even 30,000. But short term, you can see we did have the Terra Luna, wick right here. This is obviously providing a bit of that resistance, right? Now, if we do come over and have a look at what's going on in the CME futures, it wasn't, crazy that we came down to these levels. We know that we usually try to find that balance, come Monday, but ultimately, this is really just a very nice, clean uptrend. And you can see right now, we're just kind of struggling around this heart line, right? So if we were to push to the upside, yes, you could see Bitcoin go up to that $26,000 level and higher. What would essentially constitute it as a full-on breakdown? Well, this level right here, if Bitcoin was to fall below 22,300, then that would kind of break the structure. But right now, it doesn't matter. Even if we came down to 22,000, basically as long as we stay above that level, we're good, right? But the other thing I wanted to point out was that, there's two different ways you can look at this, right? So you can look at it like an ascending triangle, which is bullish. We did have the breakout, and you could say right now that we are retesting it. Now, can we say that with 100% confidence? No, not at this point, because we are currently in a red candle and we are pushing below and the day hasn't closed yet. Now, if tomorrow we have a green candle close, then yes, I would say it is confirmed. But we don't fully have that confirmation yet, even though technically, yes, it did close above it. It's not the type of close that I would personally be looking for, because if it does turn out to be a rising wedge, because these patterns and things do evolve over time, then yes, you have a possibility of breaking back down here around that, 22,000-ish area, right? But here's the other thing, guys. If I get rid of all this right now, look at where the VPVR is. And you can see, really, once we get above this area, we're literally where Bitcoin is right now, there is not really much going on in that area. You can see right here, we don't get any interest again until about the $28,000 area. Can you see above me how there's like almost no volume in this area? Massive accumulation right here. Massive volume. We don't know if they're accumulating. We assume they are. Massive volume at around 20,400. But nevertheless, you could see that if we are in this giant falling wedge, which is actually bullish, right? Falling wedges are bullish patterns. And if we've been in this giant falling wedge ever since January of last year, then my goodness, once we do have the breakout, it is going to be massive. Now, unfortunately, right now, the macro trend is down, right? We're putting in lower lows and lower highs. So that's a downwards trend. But as soon as we break this, guys, it could be absolutely explosive. And right now, look at where we are. This is massive resistance, right? Getting through this center area right here. If we do, that could easily take us to our targets of 26, 28. And honestly, if we continue, we may even come back to this $30,000 area, which at that point would be a very, very, very difficult battle, in my opinion, for the bulls, only because of how much support was lost and then turned into resistance at that point, right? But nevertheless, guys, if we do have the confirmed breakout on that, I will let you know. That's why you got to get subscribed on the channel. And, obviously, if you are looking to trade, don't forget that there is the $6,888 bonus over on BitGet. And, if you, for some reason, some people said they didn't see this page when they sign up, you can just enter the code NYNL, which is my personal code for Crypto Zombie users, and then you will get that bonus, right? Make sure you guys check out the tutorial popping up above as well if you're interested in learning how to do that, right? But let's talk about this. So this is something that has happened, and every time it has ever flashed on these charts, we have had a confirmed bottom. Now, technically, this did actually happen about 3 weeks ago, but I'm bringing it to your attention now because it appears that as it's playing out, it is going to play out as it has in the past. And that is the fact that we have the weekly RSI having this cross, but not only are we having this cross, we're having the cross below 40 on the RSI. Like, we have crosses all the time, right? But if we come back here, and can you guys see what I'm talking about? This purple line is moving above this yellow line, and it's happening below 40. Remember, historically, we have these levels that we're watching. If we're looking at the monthly, we're looking at 50. If we're looking at the weekly, we're looking at 40. Why? That's just how it is historically. There's no real rhyme or reason for it. It's just that seems to be the level where we have the reversal, right? And look at this, guys. This is nuts. If we go back in history, and I hope you can see this because I know it's kind of small on the screen right here, but look at this, guys. Right here around December 5th of 2011. Keep in mind, this is the week. So the week of this, right? We have this cross right here, and look what happens. It is the absolute bottom. So the bottom actually happened October 17th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks later, we get the indicator, and that is the absolute bottom. And from that point, right now, we have this downward sloping trend that you have to break out of. How long does it take us from that moment until we actually fully break out of it? It takes us about 119 days. But nevertheless, the bottom was in and we never went any lower again. Let's move forward. Let's see what happened here. This is February of 2015, right? So we have it flash right here. We have the cross. Actually, the cross actually happened, February 16th of 2015. I got to move this. Actually technically happened right here, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't change what we're talking about. And essentially what happened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks later, we got this signal. And guess what? We had that bottom wick right here. Okay, so that was 5 weeks earlier. The bottom was in. And how long did it take us until we officially broke out of the downtrend? It took us about 140 days. or 133 days, depending on how you're looking at it. So 119 days and 130 days, and the bottom was in. Let's see what happened here. When we got this flashing right here in January of 2019, we had the cross, right? And that was how many days after the bottom? How many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks after that. And how long did it take us until we broke the trend? Well, you measure right here. It took us about 63 days. So this actually happened faster than the previous ones. Not saying it's going to happen that fast, but so at this point, what are we looking at? Somewhere between 60, right? Somewhere between 60 days and 130 days, essentially, we can look at. Well, we just got that again on the week of July 18th. Same situation below the 40, having the crossover. Here's the major downward sloping trend. This is the big trend that we need to break. If we don't break this trend, we're going to continue in a downwards market, right? So if we just estimate, let's just take 60. How far out would 60 days? So 60 days would say that we're going to break this sometime around October, okay, of this year. And if we go out, let's say we do 130 days like we did the first time. These are just rough numbers. We're just having fun with this. Nobody knows the exact days. Then that takes us to about December. So essentially what this is telling us is that regardless of what happens for the rest of the year, the bottom, according to this historical indication, should be in, and we should be breaking this major trend line, meaning we're now entering into the bull part of the rally, right? Sometime around October to December of this year. So if you've hung around crypto for this long, if you can just make it essentially another few months just to the end of the year, let's just say January of 2023, let's say, then that should be the ultimate time for the bulls to come back in. So I think that we are definitely at a point where, not financial advice, this is the buy zone. This is the golden pocket. This is where you want to be accumulating your Bitcoin, your Ethereum. And look, I know Ethereum was down at $800. Bitcoin was down at $17,500. Okay, all right. So maybe you didn't perfectly time the bottom. But when you consider where Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of these other cryptos are going, you have to say to yourself, this is quite the discount. These are the moments that people wait for, right? That people complain. I wish the price would go cheaper. I wish I could have bought Bitcoin. You remember when people saying, if Bitcoin goes down, remember when we were at like 60, 70 almost, and people were like, man, if I could just get Bitcoin down at 30,000 again, I'd love to buy. Bitcoin goes to 30,000 and those same people are like, oh, I'm not buying at these levels. Okay, well, fair enough. We did go lower. But if you consider how Bitcoin exponentially reacts historically, looking at another 10x from, potentially where we are right now, and knowing that one coin in our lifetime, I believe, will be $1 million, does it matter if you buy it at 17 or 25 or 30 or even 40? No, not in my book. But and another thing too, I just want to point this out. Look at how high the Bitfinex longs are. This is the entire history of the Bitfinex longs. So each one of these candles represents a month. And this data goes back to August of 2017. So just from the beginning of the year, where's the beginning of the year? Right here. These longs went up 247%, which means there's obviously some whales out there that are very, very long right now. We can see the data. And in the past 2 months, it's come down. We've seen some profits, but up 270% in the year, down 4% in the past 2 months. These guys are not budging. They are believing that crypto is getting ready for this big move, and they're piling in and they're putting their money where their mouth is. So that's crazy, guys. So just wanted to talk about that. Now, 3 things you need to pay attention to. Number 1 is this DXY, because not only did we have that resistance right here at the 50, we moved above it, but look what the dollar is trying to do right now. The dollar is actually hitting its downward sloping resistance, right? So if the dollar breaks out of this and has a successful retest, then that could not be, good news for, riskier assets like Bitcoin and some of the stocks, right? We'll have to see how this plays out. We'll see if it continues to move down. It could have a close above it. Would that be confirmed? Well, no, we would have to see what happens tomorrow, essentially. But I just want to let you guys know, a little bit of warning. We have broken the parabolic trend, which is good for Bitcoin, right? But if the dollar is able to break out of this downward sloping trend, then regardless of losing the parabola, it still technically is going in an uptrend, right? So we just have to pay attention to that. Second thing we need to pay attention to is the stock market. I'm looking at the S&P right here. The S&P is currently testing its downward slope. Now, there is a little bit of fudge you could fudge this around a little bit, right? I kind of have it right around 4296, but it could also technically be 4351. So it's a bit of a range right here, but nevertheless, you can see that, after this explosive move, we're coming into that resistance now for stocks. So, could stocks take a cool off? Could the dollar move to the upside? These are charts we're going to have to pay attention to for, some of that macro when it comes to everything, not just crypto. And also, finally, is the total crypto market cap. Because, as you see, even though we have stayed above the 200 weekly, we may be looking for something like this, right? Come down, retest it, almost like we were trying to do here, but without falling through, and put in a bit of a double bottom, right? That's possible. Double bottoms are very, very bullish patterns, and there's nothing wrong with having a retest, right? You want to confirm. You don't just want to, just start going straight up. You want to come down. You want to retest the base, because the longer you stay there and the more you solidify that, the stronger that eventually ends up becoming, right? Which is why, if we look up here at all the times that we were staying right above this sort of, this is the overall market cap around 1.3 trillion. But, Bitcoin was around that $30,000 area. That's a very strong area. And once we break above it again, we're probably never going below it ever again. So, once we break above that $30,000 area for Bitcoin, because of the fact that we spent a year and a half there, is going to obviously be a lot of resistance first. So we may get rejected, right? That's understandable. But once we do break and hold above that, I personally, you can quote me saying this, I don't think you'll ever see Bitcoin go below 30,000 ever again the next time it gets above it and confirms it. And as I just showed you, that could be potentially sometime between October and December of this year. And then we could get that confirmed move to the upside, right? And just talking about Ethereum literally came down to our exact level, basically within a few dollars. We were looking at, 1886. Ethereum came down to 1873. Okay, so I was off by $13, guys. So, if we hold above here and you are in a long, then, obviously put your stop losses. But for the most part, yeah, I do think the trend continues unless some catastrophic thing happens and, you're seeing those dip buyers come in. So this is exactly what we would expect, guys. So remember, if you are looking to trade, check out BitGet. Like I said, I do have one of the best tutorials on the internet, if not the best. Just not trying to brag here, but I put a lot of time and effort into it to try to help you guys so you can learn what you're doing. But ultimately, guys, that is it for me. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Make sure you check that out, popping up above, etc. You guys know. So exciting times, lots of big things coming out from BlackRock and Revolut, and we're having all these bottom indicators flashing. Now, obviously, if you're new, you might think, oh, bottom indicators flashing, that means we're going to pump straight to the moon. No, actually, in most of these instances, you get the bottom indicator, and then it just kind of does this, sideways choppy stuff. So, maybe we go up to that 25, 26, and then come back down to 22, we could do that straight until October to December, like I said. But I do believe that the bottom is in, and unless there's some major catastrophic global event that we're not anticipating, because keep in mind, everyone is anticipating rates being raised by the Fed. Everyone is aware of the inflation problems that are happening globally, right? These are not black swan events. We know they're going to happen, right? So we are pricing them in. You would need a crazy black swan event to really screw things up. But as every indication that I'm seeing right now, and I'm not claiming to be a guru, it's just saying that the bottom is in. It's just every single indicator is oversold. It's flashing historical signals. And, the fact that we've held above the 200 weekly for 3 weeks now, and even though we're having a little bit of a red Monday, we're still above it. It's kind of putting me in the bullish camp, guys. I think the bottom is in, and I think, if you're not accumulating at these levels, I would just, I don't want to give any financial advice, but a lot of people waited for Bitcoin to go down to $1,000 when we had bottomed out last time around 3,000, and they never got that opportunity. And then it went to 4,000, and then it went to 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, 15,000. Okay? Then they got the pullback again, right? When we had the COVID crash, it went down to $3,000 again. They thought it was going to go down to 1, still didn't buy. Missed the whole move up, whole move down, and then we went up to almost $70,000. So don't be one of those guys. Don't be one of those guys. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos every single day. Once again, if you are not subscribed, and also turn on the bell notification, because Very important. And even people that are telling me that they have the bell notification on aren't getting their notifications. So I don't know what that's all about, YouTube. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your week. We will monitor this as the week goes on. I'm still bullish. And even if we have a little bit of a pullback, we have wiggle room. We can get down to that $22,600 level. I'm not scared. I'm not worried. I'm accumulating at these levels. And that is it for me. Have a great start to your week, guys. Thank you again for all your support and coming back. I love you guys. You're awesome. Make sure you follow me over on Twitter if you're not, so you can get some of those updates when I'm not posting videos. And that is it for me. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. Check this video that's popping up right here, right now. And of course, peace out.